What is up, handsome gamers? Railerik here. Hope you're all doing well. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about item builds and why, in my opinion, you should almost never be building a full offensive glass cannon build in League of Legends, at least as a jungler, top laner, or even mid laner. So I've been playing a lot of ranked games in the past week. I've played about 40 games so far, which is a lot, I think, in a week. And I've been taking notes as to, what my teammates were doing right, what my teammates were doing wrong. And one of the biggest things, even in Diamond, that I've been noting down that people were doing wrong is their item builds and building full offensive after you get an early lead. There's this preconception in the game where if you build, full offensive and you got an early lead, you're going to be able to just snowball out of control and win the game super quickly. And all of that's kind of true, and it's worked very well in the past. With the current very CC heavy meta that we have right now, I've noticed almost every time someone in my games in ranked has built full offensive, they get shut down at one point in the game, and it just goes downhill from there. The problem with a full offensive build is that if your team doesn't already have very high CC or tankiness, you're going to be just killed instantly, and all the gold lead that you've acquired, if you have one, is going to get shut down instantly when people just CC and kill you very quickly. The other thing is, if your goal is to carry games, right, which is usually why people go for full offensive builds, they want to carry their team and be the most damage dealing champion on their team, is that being that carry, you need to engage fights. You need to be the one that's proactive, that's roaming the map, that's trying to 1v1 everyone, that's trying to, again, be very proactive. And when you don't have any defensive stats and you're trying to be proactive, what happens is you get shut down. People just find you, they'll knock you down, and they'll kill you. Even when people are super far behind, if you don't have any HP, if you get CC'd, you'll just die. And if you can't deal damage because you're dead, then all of that offensive items that you've gotten, all the gold that you've acquired is basically rendered useless. On the other hand, though, if you're actually building defensively as your third or fourth item, you're going to be able to use all that gold that you've acquired to engage fights, to be the one that's super proactive and get your team to follow you in these fights without dying instantly. I'll take Nidalee as an example because that's the champion that I play the most, and you can see in these plays that I've been showing you guys that I'm pretty tanky with my build. I usually go for Runic Echoes into Rod of Ages, they're both offensive items. At least Rod of Ages gives me a bit of defensive stats that gives me a lot of HP when it's fully stacked. And then as my third item, I almost always go for something like a Deadman's Plate if they have a lot of AD, or I'll go for a Spirit Visage, or maybe an Abyssal if I'm doing really, really well. So if you don't want to build full defensive items on champions like Diana or Nidalee or Pantheon or whatever you're playing, you can always go for an off-tank item, like something that gives you a bit of AD but also armor, or a bit of AP and also MR or something like that. Those are very good items to build if you're doing extremely well. But in cases where you're going to be engaging team fights, you need defensive stats in order to win the game. No defensive stats, you could be 20-0. Like I've seen a Graves in one of my games that was 12-0 against me, or 11-0 against me, or something like that. And basically, because that champion is so squishy, the more the game went on, the more we were able to shut him down, because everybody got so tanky on my team that he couldn't deal any damage, or actually couldn't kill us instantly. And because we survived, we're just able to shut him down very easily with CC and just all kill him and win the game. So just to wrap this one up, guys, basically what I'm saying is that the best way to carry your team, especially if you have an early lead, is to build at least one defensive item as your third or fourth item. Personally, I really enjoy a third item defensive, like a Spirit Visage or Deadman's Plate. Those are really good for me, instead of going for a full offensive build, because you're basically hindering your ability to win the game when you're building a full offensive build. Because as much damage as you can deal, if you get locked down with as much CC as there is in the game right now, there are a lot of champions being played that have high CC. Blitzcrank is being played very often, Alistair and whatnot. If you have all the gold on your team and you're extremely easy to kill, you're basically just making it really hard to win the game for your team. Instead, when you're going for defensive items, if you're an extremely high priority target and it's really difficult to kill you because you've built Rod of Ages and Spirit Visage and Abyssal and whatnot, people don't do much damage to you. People are going to start targeting other people on your team, and you're actually going to be able to get in there and fight and deal the damage that you're trying to deal with those defensive items. So hope that helped you guys. I know that it's very difficult sometimes when you get a lead. You just want to build that Abyssal, or sorry, you want to build that Rabadon's Death Cap, or you want to build that Infinity Edge as your top laner or something like that. But I really recommend trying out, you know, a defensive third item or a fourth item. You'll notice how much easier it is to carry games with those because, again, you can engage fights, you can be super proactive, you can get your team to follow up on you without dying instantly, and you can feel like this unstoppable force that's just so tanky but yet deals so much damage. Especially when you have a lead, usually you'll have a couple levels up, and so you're already dealing more damage than the enemy team. And building a few defensive items is just going to make you more difficult to kill and allow you to deal more damage, to get more objectives, and get closer to that victory screen. So hope this video helped out. If it did, drop a like. Maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll be back soon for more tip videos. I've got a couple for jungling and also just general tips for you guys. I'm taking notes again in my ranked games, and I'll be telling you guys what people are doing badly, what people are doing good, and hopefully help you guys out and get the better rank that you can get in Season 6. All right, I'll see you guys soon.